Now, with control of Congress still uncertain, the so-called red wave, as Joe mentioned, it appears to have been, at the very least, a miscalculation. So far, House Democrats have managed to hold on to some of the seats that were under threat. They've actually picked up others from Republicans. So let's bring in a Republican strategist, Aaron Perini, and also a Democratic strategist, Jonathan Harris. We're going to pick through the bones of this election. Thank you both for joining us. Aaron, I'm going to start with you. Record-breaking inflation seemed like a nail in the coffin for Dems. So what lesson should the Republican Party learn from this? Because clearly economic issues, crime, it was not enough to shift voters away from the Democrats.
There will be a lot of post-mortem work that goes into the days that come out of the midterm elections, looking ahead to 2024 for Republicans. But one key thing Republicans need to look at is really what appears to be an underestimation of how long and how much the Dobbs decision motivated Democrats. Because having them continue to be activated and in this election, right, normally in a midterm year, the party in power sees less turnout from their own voters and more for the other side. It's how you get these wave midterm elections. That didn't pan out. And I think that's more indicative of the long-term staying power of Dobbs than anything else, because the economy is still a top issue for voters.
And Aaron, we were expecting, or at least our polls were indicating, I shouldn't say we were expecting, but our polls were indicating the Republicans would have a pretty handled majority in the House. And now it looks like it could still be a majority, but it's a much smaller majority than hoped for. So how does that impact the party's agenda moving forward?
Right. If Republicans continue to the path they're on and they pick up the House of Representatives, that is going to become an oversight mechanism against the Biden administration. That will be the one check that exists within the legislative branch of government if we don't bring the Senate across the finish line, to be able to put some stop on the radical spending, to try and make sure we're balancing our books, and to make sure that we are doing things like funding our police, getting taxes under control, and putting forward an economic message that benefits the American people. But you better believe there will be a lot of committee oversight if House Republicans continue to pull this through of the Biden administration and what has happened.
And Jonathan, let's move to you now. Presidents usually lose seats in a midterm election, a lot of seats, like dozens of seats in the House. Right. And when it comes to the Senate, more often than not, they lose seats there. So what about this Biden campaign and all of these Democrats has allowed them to avoid that and to hang on to many of their seats?
I think it's actually a mix. I think it's a mix of Republican messaging not resonating, a lot of those fear tactics about trying to paint the country as this dystopian hellscape of crime, and also the messaging of the Democrats actually resonating with voters. And I think obviously you can't overstate the impact that the Roe versus Wade decision from the Supreme Court had in terms of turning out voters. I think there are a lot of people, men and women actually, who didn't want their children to have less rights than they did. And I think that was a huge message. I also think voters saw through a lot of these attacks about the economy. The economy is doing phenomenally well. And I think Republicans were trying to tell people the economy was in some state of collapse, and that's just not true. Month after month, adding jobs and exceeding expectations. And I think that's at the end of the day what happened. I think people looked out and said, okay, yeah, there's inflation. There's inflation all over the world. And in economies like ours, many other countries have much higher inflation. And I think they figured out, this is not something that the Biden administration is doing. It's not something that the Republicans are going to be able to stop. It's a ripple effect from COVID, because that's exactly what it's from. And so I think the Democratic message won out here. And I think the Republicans are going to have to do a lot of introspection about the role that Trump played and that kind of MAGA extremism not working this go around again.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.